Good thing that I suggested we monitor the San Angelo area, isn't it? She's probably there now, searching for our original complex.
Yes, for a change, I'd say you're right. And it's probably wisest to stop her immediately.
Remember when TV's toughest woman could leap fences in slow motion, hear a whisper from half a mile away, and still deliver a side-eye that said, "I've got this"? Today we're diving into 10 weird facts about the Bionic Woman, the 1970s sci-fi action classic that made Jaime Sommers a primetime legend and had all of us running around our living rooms going dun-nun-nun-nun-nun, dun-nun-nun-nun-nun. And if you're new here or just forgot because the 70s are a little fuzzy, The Bionic Woman was the must-see spin-off of The $6 Million Man. It starred Lindsay Wagner as a skydiving tennis pro turned government super agent with cutting-edge bionics and a heart of gold. The show stuck around for 3 seasons and 58 episodes, but before we jump in, be sure to like and subscribe if you're into this kind of retro TV deep dive. It helps the algorithm show it to more retro TV fans just like you. Now, let's get into the countdown with number 10, she was DOA until viewers brought her back. When Lindsay Wagner first parachuted onto the $6 Million Man, she wasn't supposed to stick the landing. Literally. Her character, Jaime Sommers, was written to die tragically at the end of a 2-part arc. Case closed. Roll credits, thanks for playing. Wagner even figured this would be her last gig under contract at Universal. She'd been working as a contract player since 1971, bouncing between shows like Adam 12, Marcus Welby MD, The Rockford Files, and Night Gallery. The role of Jaime Sommers was supposed to be her swan song before parting ways with the studio forever. But then something wild happened that nobody saw coming. Fan mail, and mountains of it. Letters poured in from viewers who were instantly hooked on this new character and absolutely furious that the most interesting person to the $6 Million Man got written out after just 2 episodes. Remember, this was 1975. There was no internet, no social media campaigns, just good old-fashioned angry letters. It was the 70s equivalent of trending worldwide on social media. The producers looked at this avalanche of outrage and thought, oops. So what did they do? In a classic TV move, they retconned the heck out of it. Suddenly, Jaime hadn't actually died. She'd been placed in experimental cryogenic suspension, followed by more bionic surgery to remove a cerebral clot.
Steve, it's just not possible.
You know that's not true, Oscar, because I'm living proof that it is possible.
I'm not talking about technology. We can put Jamie back together again. I think it's possible, but there are other considerations.
She survived, but not without consequences. The revival came with a twist. Jamie had lost most of her long-term memory, including her relationship with the not-so-stone-cold Steve Austin. The love story that had anchored her original arc suddenly erased. Even trying to jog her memory caused painful headaches, so the OSI kept them apart, assigning Jamie to a rehab facility far from her past life. She eventually got her own show, her own missions, and later, most of her memories back. But her feelings for Steve, well, according to the story, those didn't resurface until much later, during the Bionic reunion movies. So yeah, Jaime Sommers died, got frozen, forgot her boyfriend, and still ended up with her own show. Not bad for a 2-episode guest star who was supposed to just stay dead. Number 9, Jaime Sommers flipped the script on 70s TV heroines. Now, let's give credit where credit's due. In 1976, most action shows were all about mustachioed dudes in flared pants chasing bad guys in muscle cars, and the women? They were girlfriends who got kidnapped every other episode, secretaries who answered phones and looked worried, or nurses who handed doctors their equipment. Maybe, just maybe, if you were lucky, you'd get a tough lady cop who still needed rescuing by the final commercial break. Then came Jaime Sommers and she completely flipped the script. She wasn't waiting for Steve Austin to save her. She was kicking down doors, outsmarting international criminals, and literally crushing steel with her bare hands. If you were a kid watching in 1976, you'd never seen anything like her. She was the first action hero who looked like your big sister, if your big sister could bench press a Buick. Now, was she the very first sci-fi action heroine? No, that's a shout out to Isis and the early Wonder Woman movie. We've covered both of those, links are in the description. But Jaime was the first to truly break out in primetime, and she did it months before Wonder Woman even got a regular slot. She paved the way for the Xenas and Sarah Connors and Buffys that followed. Because long before it was a trend, Jaime Sommers proved that you didn't need a Y chromosome to save the world or to carry a primetime show. Number 8, Lindsay Wagner made Emmy history. You know what's cooler than being the Bionic Woman? Being an award-winning Bionic Woman who just changed television history. In 1977, Lindsay Wagner became the first actress to win an Emmy for a sci-fi series, taking home Outstanding Lead Actress in a drama series for The Bionic Woman.
The Bionic Woman. And the winner is Lindsay Wagner, the Bionic Woman.
Now, that might not sound like a huge deal today, but back then, sci-fi was considered cheesy B-movie stuff. Ray guns, rubber monsters, and plots that nobody took seriously. The kind of thing serious actors avoided if they wanted to be taken seriously by critics and awards voters. Television sci-fi was even worse. It was seen as cheap kids programming or late-night filler. The idea that someone could win television's most prestigious award for playing a character with bionic limbs? Absolutely unthinkable.
Thank you. I would like to thank two people. As a lot of you probably know, doing a television series can be a real...
That is, until Lindsay Wagner proved everyone wrong. Her performance, equal parts strength, vulnerability, and legitimate dramatic acting chops showed that sci-fi didn't have to be all flash and no substance. She brought real emotional weight to a show about a woman who could run 60 miles per hour and arm wrestle robots. Before Game of Thrones started collecting Emmys like Pokemon cards, before sci-fi became prestige television, Lindsay Wagner was out here in 1977 proving that genre television could be just as powerful as any courtroom drama or medical show. So next time you see someone win an Emmy for a sci-fi series, just remember, Lindsay did it first, and she had to break down a whole wall of snobbery to get there. Number 7, the Fembots traumatized a generation. Now, if you watched The Bionic Woman as a kid and had to sleep with the lights on afterward, you can blame the Fembots. These eerie, lifelike android assassins were supposed to be top-secret infiltration units, but their real mission was giving an entire generation of kids nightmares for months. Here's the thing, the adults that were watching could appreciate the Fembots as clever sci-fi villains. It was a cool concept with decent special effects for the 70s and an interesting plot device. But kids? Well, kids saw something much more terrifying. For 7-year-olds, the Fembots hit every primal fear at once. They looked like normal people, your teacher, your babysitter, that nice lady at the grocery store, but something always felt off. Their voices were just a little too flat, their movements a little too stiff, and their smiles a little too perfect.
Counting. Mark. All stations, this is flight. At T-minus 30 seconds and counting. All systems are go. We may proceed with launch. Facility is now on automatic sequence.
And then their rubber faces would peel away to reveal blank metallic stares and glowing red eyes underneath.
Fix your face mask. Hurry. Don't let her get away.
That was pure nightmare fuel for our brains because suddenly any adult could secretly be a robot. How would we even know? NBC definitely knew they'd crossed a line. The network got flooded with letters from concerned parents saying their kids were terrified to even look at the TV during Fembot episodes. If one of those traumatized kids was you, sound off in the comments section below. There's no judgment here, we're all still recovering from our first Fembot face peel. In hindsight, it's kind of impressive. A 1970s sci-fi show made on a shoestring budget still managed to create something more genuinely disturbing than most modern horror movies. The Fembots haunted an entire generation, and yes, they even got lovingly spoofed in Austin Powers decades later.
You can't resist us, Mr. Powers. You can't resist us, Mr. Powers.
Au contraire, baby.
Because once you've seen a face peel off to reveal cold blank metal underneath, you don't ever forget it. Ever. Number 6. Jaime didn't jump. She fell backward. Okay, prepare to have your childhood officially ruined. Remember those incredible slow motion leaps where Jaime Sommers would gracefully soar over fences, cars, and basically anything that got in her way? Those moments that made you run around your backyard trying to jump like you had bionics? Well, spoiler alert, she didn't really jump like that. At all. Mind blown. I know. Here's what actually happened. Instead of Lindsay Wagner launching herself over obstacles like some kind of superhuman gazelle, stunt woman Rita Eggleston would climb up on a platform and then jump backwards off. That's it. No graceful leaping, no defying gravity, just a professional stunt woman falling backwards. And then, and this is where the 70s TV magic gets beautiful, they'd play the whole thing in reverse, add some slow motion at 60 frames per second, throw in those iconic bionic sound effects, and voila! Rita's awkward backward tumble became Jaime's impossible superhuman leap. Honestly, it's all kind of genius. There was no $1 million CGI, no elaborate wire work, and no green screens. Just good old-fashioned reverse footage and a stunt woman with nerves of steel. So the next time you watch Jaime defy the laws of physics, just picture poor Rita Eggleston hopping backwards off a platform, praying she sticks to the landing on a giant airbag. Number 5. From cancellation to comeback, Jaime's network jump. Picture this, it's 1978, the Bionic Woman just wrapped season 2, still ranking number 14 in the ratings by the way. Lindsay Wagner had just won an Emmy for the role and fans were loving the show. Everything was looking great, right? Well, no, you'd be incredibly wrong. Naturally, ABC decided to actually cancel the show, and yes, you heard me right. Even back then, network logic made zero sense. This wasn't a ratings crash or anything like that. This was ABC deciding they didn't see long-term potential in a show that was literally winning awards and pulling solid numbers. Fred Silverman, ABC's programming chief at the time, was laser focused on chasing younger viewers, that magic 18 to 34 demographic that advertisers were throwing money at. To him, the Bionic Woman felt too established, too safe. He wanted fresh, edgy, youth-oriented programming. He made the exact same call with Wonder Woman around the same time, canceling it despite decent ratings for the same reason. So, despite Jaime's popularity and critical acclaim, ABC pulled the plug. Fans were furious. Critics were baffled as well, but NBC, they saw an opportunity. Within weeks, they swooped in and picked up the show for a third season, making the Bionic Woman one of the rare network-to-network rescues of the 1970s.
Listen, those guys stole a computer tape. Now, I have to get it back.
Computer tapes? Who are you anyway?
I'm an agent for the OSI. Who are you?
Evel Knievel.
All right. I'm Jamie Bond. Listen,
But the switch came with changes, and not all of them were good. Creator Kenneth Johnson didn't make the jump. Production moved from ABC's lot to NBC's Burbank Studios, and while Lindsay Wagner stayed, the tone definitely didn't. Season 3 leaned into campier, more fantastical plots, including a two-parter with a bionic dog, and yes, even aliens. Oh, and remember that episode where she went undercover as a wrestler named Savage Jaime Sommers?
Here's where you finally get squashed, cream pie.
Stop it, Mary. Now, I don't want to hurt you.
You're gonna hurt me?
Yeah, that was wild. It was still Jaime's show, but it felt like a completely different universe. By the end of season 3, ratings had slipped, the superhero fad was fading, and NBC quietly pulled the plug. Turned out even a Bionic Woman couldn't outrun network fatigue, or survive getting bounced between corporate priorities. Number 4. Star-crossed by contracts. Steve Austin and Jaime Sommers had one of 70s TV's most beloved romances. The kind that had viewers glued to their sets every week, hoping they'd finally get back together, and then corporate lawyers destroyed it all. When the Bionic Woman jumped from ABC to NBC in 1977, ABC clamped down on Lee Majors like a government vault. Remember, he was still starring in The $6 Million Man and locked into an exclusive deal that might as well have been written in titanium. For fans who'd been rooting for Steve and Jaime since day one, this was heartbreaking. These weren't just any TV characters, they were your OTP before you even knew what that meant. The chemistry, the longing looks, the will they won't they tension that kept you coming back every week was gone overnight because of paperwork.
You know, it's really fun, comfortable talking with you. You know that.
Well, I was just going to say the same thing.
Oh, come on.
No, I mean that.
That meant the bionic lovebirds who once shared missions, witty banter, and those perfect slow-motion romantic moments had to call it quits. Not because of some dramatic plot twist, but because two networks couldn't play nice together. Viewers were furious. Letters poured in, but there was nothing anyone could do. NBC tried to keep the show humming without Steve, but let's be real, it wasn't the same.
You know, Steve, you and Jamie were always so close. I kind of expected...
Expected what, Mom?
There were no more joint missions, no more stolen glances, no more hoping this would be the episode they finally figured it out. Just a big Steve Austin-shaped hole in every storyline. Talk about stone cold. Okay, I promise that's the last one I make. Here's the really weird part. Oscar Goldman, played by Richard Anderson, and Dr. Rudy Wells, played by Martin E. Brooks, got to keep hopping between both shows, playing the same characters on two competing networks at the same time. But Steve, he was benched, thanks to an exclusive contract with ABC. So in a world where Marvel and DC hand out crossovers like candy, it's wild to think your favorite star-crossed lovers could be separated not by fate, alien interference, or memory loss, but by a primetime custody battle between network executives. Thankfully, the story didn't end there. Years later, Steve and Jamie reunited in 3 Bionic reunion movies and finally tied the knot in 1994's Bionic Ever After. Lindsay Wagner only agreed to do the movie if the characters got married.
Now, can we talk about kids?
Because some love stories deserve a real ending, even if it takes 17 years and a network truce to get there. Number 3, the Bionic Dog was a team effort. By season 3, the Bionic Woman had switched to NBC and things got wonderfully weird really fast. Aliens, psychic powers, and a bionic German Shepherd named Max who stole every scene he was in. Max, full name Maximilian, wasn't just some cute sidekick thrown in for ratings.
Maximilian? You're a bionic dog.
This dog had a backstory that would make a soap opera jealous. At just 4 months old, he was caught in a chemical lab fire and nearly died. Dr. Rudy Wells rebuilt him with $1 million worth of cutting-edge bionics, bionic legs, a reinforced jaw, and enough tech to make him faster and stronger than any normal dog.
Rudy was testing his bionic prototype, and Max was just the strong-willed animal that we were looking for.
Plot twist, Max actually became the first bionic test subject. Yeah, he beat Steve and Jamie to the punch. But there was a problem. Max started rejecting his implants, not because they malfunctioned, but because he was terrified. The fire had left him with what we'd now recognize as PTSD, and the OSI was about to put him down until Jamie stepped in. She helped Max face his fear of fire and basically talked him off the euthanasia ledge.
Oh, I'm so proud of you. Oh, you're such a good dog.
Because if anyone could give a traumatized bionic dog therapy, it was Jaime Sommers. After that breakthrough, Max became her loyal partner, chasing down bad guys, saving lives, and proving that the best sidekicks have 4 legs and a tail that never stops wagging. Viewers absolutely loved him. NBC even considered giving him his own spin-off. The $1 Million Mutt, anyone? But they decided America wasn't quite ready for a dog-led action series. Behind the scenes, though, Max was actually a tag team of very talented dogs. One specialized in fire scenes, another crushed it on the treadmill for those high-speed chase sequences, and one had the rare professional discipline to completely ignore a juicy steak that was waved right in front of his face during dramatic scenes. So, the next time you see Max saving the day with his tail wagging and his metal limbs whirring, just remember that was actually a whole ensemble of very good boys, each bringing their own special skills to the role, and frankly, they all deserved $1 million bonus, their own trailer, and a crate full of Emmys. Number 2, one comeback worked, the other, not so much. Jaime Sommers didn't fade quietly into pop culture history. She made 2 comebacks. One worked, one didn't. First came a trilogy of made-for-TV reunion movies in the late 80s and early 90s. Lindsay Wagner returned to the role, bringing back all that warmth and charm that made the original special, and by 1994's Bionic Ever After, Jaime and Steve finally tied the knot. Then, in 2007, NBC decided to try again with a full reboot of the Bionic Woman. New cast, new attitude, new millennium sensibilities. They cast Michelle Ryan as a reimagined Jaime Sommers and went for a darker, grittier, more intense approach. On paper, it made sense. This was the era of gritty reboots.
Bionics enhance baseline human strength. And then some.
Battlestar Galactica had just proven you could take cheesy 70s sci-fi and turn it into prestige television, so why not do the same with the Bionic Woman? Well, here's the problem. They forgot what made Jaime Sommers special in the first place. The reboot leaned heavily into brooding drama and non-stop action, but lost the heart. Lindsay Wagner, who notably didn't appear in the new version, made it clear why when she spoke about it later. She called the show technically very good, but described it as angry and dark, missing what made the original work. The warmth was gone, the optimism was gone, even the fun was gone. Critics agreed. One reviewer called it mock tough guy attitude and dialogue. Another said it just wasn't enjoyable to watch. Even fans who appreciated Michelle Ryan's performance felt like the scripts didn't give her anything interesting to work with. The series was cancelled after just one season, proving that sometimes darker doesn't mean better. The 2007 reboot tried to fix what wasn't broken. Turns out the real power was never in the Bionics, it was in Jaime's heart all along. Number 1. Bionic Woman Mania was real, brother. Just ask the UK. The Bionic Woman wasn't just a stateside sensation. She was a global phenomenon, and nowhere was that more obvious than across the pond, where British viewers went absolutely bonkers for Jaime Sommers. When her debut episode aired in the UK in 1976, it pulled in nearly 14 million viewers, making it the most watched show of the week. Not bad for a sci-fi spin-off about a tennis pro with robot arms. But here's what's really wild. British fans didn't just watch the Bionic Woman, they lived it. UK manufacturers went into overdrive, cranking out exclusive Bionic Woman merchandise that American kids could only dream of. We're talking dolls, board games, annuals, even a Jaime Sommers styling boutique set that came with its own Mini Cooper. Because apparently even Bionic women needed fashionable transportation. You couldn't walk into a British toy shop without tripping over some piece of Jaime Sommers gear. The merchandising blitz was so intense, it made the American tie-ins look like amateur hour. And here's the kicker. Today, those rare UK collectibles are worth serious money. Collectors hunt for them at vintage toy fairs and online auctions where they sell for eye-popping prices that would make even Oscar Goldman's government budget look modest. Why did the Brits go so crazy for the Bionic Woman? Well, maybe it was because Jaime represented something they weren't seeing much of on British television.
Are you alright?
Not yet. I gotta stop a bomber.
You'll stop nothing, Jaime. All of my surface defenses are still active.
A strong, independent woman who could handle herself in any situation. Or maybe they just loved watching someone run in slow motion while making cool sound effects. Either way, long before international fandom became a marketing buzzword and decades before social media made global fandoms instant, Jaime Sommers was already proving that bionic power and great storytelling could translate across any ocean. She didn't just conquer America, she conquered the world, one slow motion leap at a time. And there you have it. 10 weird, wild, and downright awesome facts about the Bionic Woman that you can now casually drop at your next get-together. Or at least impress absolutely no one but your fellow Gen Xers and retro TV fans. Which facts did we miss? Let us know in the comments section below, and be sure to like and subscribe so we can continue to give you these retro TV goodies. Until next time, this is Remember When.